Glad you're here with this new life. As I said last time, I'll be talking about this case that it discussed on Netflix about the most hated men on the internet. That's how Hunter Moore was called by the Rolling Stones magazine. The most hated man on the internet. It's just a label. But, okay, first thing first, it's a label. The label may describe something in reality about this man. And of course, he got a lot of backlash worldwide. But to call him the most hated man on the internet? Okay, that goes a bit too far. That seems like propaganda. Look, when it comes to cases like this, people tend to be quite emotional and they tend to become quite radical. Or you have anything good to say about this man, or you must be just like him, you must be a monster like him. People tend to become radicalized and thinking to extremes. You're either fully agreeing with our narrative or you're against us. But hold on a minute, we need to examine things over here. And when it comes to a case like this, by the way, can you all hear me clearly? Let me know in the live chat, please. When it comes to things like this, feminists love to say, oh, you have to believe every woman. Or if it involves women getting hurt, or you should support a woman unconditionally. Hold on, don't be so fast. What I'm teaching you here is not just to enter any case with an emotional load. And this is something that that criminal investigators know very well. Don't enter a case with emotional load, with preconceived feelings about a matter. If you have preconceived feelings, put them aside. If you can't put them aside, then you're not fit to investigate this thing. As simple as that. Because too often we focus on our preconceived feelings and we look to gratify our preconceived feelings. And by doing that, we get a confirmation bias. And I am avoiding this on this channel. Truth being told, let me say this. I don't know this man. I've never been involved with him, like I never will. Because as far as I can see, he's not born again. He's not doing the will of the Heavenly Father. And I don't see any willingness in him to change. So probably that will never happen. Me even talking to this guy. So this guy is a human being. Someone gave birth to him. He has relatives out there, and he's someone Christ died for too. So no escalating emotional bombs over here. I'm not standing off for this guy. I'm just saying we need to put some preconceived emotions aside for a little bit and look at what is exactly happening over here. Now, one thing any police officer will tell you is that you should never, ever come to conclusions too quickly. Because sometimes you may think, oh, he's the killer or he's the guilty one. And then the DNA proof comes out and someone completely different. But then you already invest in seeing that other guy over there as a perpetrator. That happens a lot. So look, in this live stream, by the way, I watched a documentary on Netflix. And by the way, I've heard of that guy before. Okay. It was just it's when I saw his face in the documentary, I remembered, oh, this guy was in the news several years ago. He was quite he was infamous. A lot of people couldn't stand him. And it all came back. So I knew about this guy before. I just didn't pay much attention to it. Till some of you requested me to look into the case a bit more, so I did. So now let's go to 2010. 2010 is the year this whole controversy began. Now, why am I going back to 2010 with you? Because there's one thing I want you to understand here. Nothing on the earth happens without being triggered by something spiritual. Okay? The fall of man caused by Adam's disobedience caused a lot of misfortune in nature and the animal kingdom too. And human behavior throughout the centuries also has an effect on the earth. So Everything you see happening right now on the earth has some spiritual cause behind it because we are spirit beings with physical bodies. We are energetic creatures with physical extensions. Our bodies are physical extensions. It's not who we are, it's our extension of us. So, as spirit beings, we trigger things spiritually or energetically in the earth. So, the timing is always important. So, let's look at 2010 and what kind of happened during that year. Now, this is not a complete overview of all the world events back then, but just look at 2010. Check what happened. Let me share my screen with you. Hold on, share screen. All right. Let me know if you can see the screen, please. Can you all see the screen? Let me know. Let me know in the live chat, please. So I'm going to make this a bit bigger. Come on. You can read it better. All right, 2010. 2010 was a common year starting on Friday on the Gregorian calendar. That's the Roman version of the calendar we use today. 2010th year of the Common Era, or Anno Domini, refers to the birth of Christ, and it was the beginning of a new decade. It was the beginning of the 2010th decade, so it was the beginning of a decade. Okay, 2010 was also the year where there were there were a few international celebrations. The year of biodiversity, so you had the green agenda over there. Yeah, the year of youth. So there was another General Assembly of the United Nations. You also had the European Year for the Combating Poverty and Social Exclusion. So there was another EU plan for European Union going on, and initiative for the reapproachment of cultures. Another UN plan. Or I believe it was the UN. Yes, I'm sure it is. So let's go further. Okay, just a few things that happened. For example, yeah, the Togo national football team is attacked in Africa. You have 7.0 magnitude earthquake occurring in Haiti that killed a lot of folks. Yes, that happened also. You had Yemen declaring a war against Al Qaeda. You had Ethiopian airline plane that crashed shortly after takeoff. You also had Australian government being hit by cyber attacks from freedom from by some activists because there were pornography restrictions put in Australia and other folks couldn't handle it. Pay attention to this. You had the 2010 Winter Olympics held in Vancouver, this in Canada, and you also had coup in Niger. There's not Nigeria, but Niger. Big earthquake in Chile. You also had a ship from South Korea that sank also, and North Korea was blamed, so you had that going on. The first iPad was released, and Julian Assange leaks footage of 2007 airstrike in Iraq. Also, the WikiLeaks thing was going on also. So, an airplane crash when a president of Poland got killed. Okay, some other oil explosion in Mexico that happened also. An exposition unlike the Eurozone. Come to a plan for Greece because Greece was in trouble. Well, I'm going through it very quickly with you. Protests in Bangkok, Thailand. I can still remember this one when this was happening. And it's some massacres amongst the radical Muslims that went on. So going throughout the year, oh yeah, also British boy band One Direction was formed. Microsoft and extended support for Windows 2000. Okay, so you had a lot of WikiLeaks was also another thing in the news. Also, what you can see over here is that oh, there was also a pandemic was declared over, the H1N1 influenza pandemic. Okay, So yeah, the Commonwealth Games in India, Commonwealth first of the countries that used to be part of British Empire. Instagram was launched 2010 also. Oh, the Netherlands Antilles are dissolved. So those Dutch islands became uh, considered colonies of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So the first female president of Brazil, well, let's hope it's a real female. So what you can see is that throughout this year, there were a lot of shifts happening. Now, again, why am I showing you all of this? Because one thing you need to understand about the world. In the world, when things are about to be exposed, pagans come up with rituals to keep the public in a cycle. Now, think about it. In Australia, they want to put some restrictions on pornography. There were attacks on the Australian government's websites over there. Instagram was launched, which became a new way to share pictures swiftly with people. These things were actually affecting the culture. And if you don't realize how Instagram shaped our culture, where have you been since 2010? Instagram had an enormous impact on people worldwide, especially the youth. Look at Instagram now, it looks like a hidden brothel. Seriously. Well, a virtual brothel. But that's not what this life is about. But just realize this 2010 was the beginning of the second decade of the 21st century, and there were shifts happening worldwide. 2009 became a year in which Facebook became dominant worldwide. So there was a lot of change happening when it comes to the virtual, when it comes to the internet. Now, that year, this man over here, where is he? Oh no, not this guy, I believe. Well, anyway, let me see where. Oh yeah, here, this guy over here came with his website. Is anyone up? And it actually was a revenge porn site where people could just post nudes or intimate pictures of someone else without their consent. And here's the worst part. Often your social media details will be linked to the picture. Nope, not going to do that. Now, thing is, this man after has been released from prison, because I believe only got the prison sentence 2.5 years, and he was supposed to participate in a new Netflix series, but he declined at the last moment. Revenge porn something. Um, Also, that a lot of law, a lot of against. So a lot of people say that this man was taking advantage of a lot of people, and because of what he was doing, people realized, oh, we need more restrictions on the internet. Or was it that this man was put out there just to trigger this response from the public so that we would be okay with having more internet restrictions on us? I want you to think for a moment. No, not going to become a member of that. I want you to think for a moment. So you mean to tell me that social media existed before the early 2000s with Windows XP, with MSN Messenger, beginning of social media was hot. I was in my young teenage years back then, so I also used a lot of social media. Facebook came out. I can still remember the first time I saw Facebook. I thought, what type of bullshit is this? It's not never going to work. It looked like a FBI database to me. But Facebook suddenly was popped up and became dominant around 2009. 2010, now you had Instagram coming out. So now you had more social media platforms imitating Facebook. And later, Years later, late in the second decade of the 21st century, means between 2000, around 2013, I believe, controversy came out that Facebook was spying on people. And later, some of those conspiracy theories were proven to be true. Now, but look at this. Before the scandals came out that Facebook was spying on its users, and they were using data from their users to sell to companies, all of that. What happened before the scandal came out? Oh, yes. You had this hysteria about this Hunter Moore. So instead of the public asking themselves, why is Facebook, who does even look attractive, overlook all social media, instead of focusing on that, the public was obsessed with being angry with this guy. Now, there's no coincidence. How come because listen, social media before Facebook became dominant in 2009 was actually social. I can still remember the days. Maybe some of you don't because you were born after the year 2000, but I can still remember the days when you went online on a forum and you could actually talk to people. You would actually be social with them. You would exchange pictures. It was more interactive. Since 2009, when the Facebook format became dominant, social media became less social. It became like this narcissistic database in which people just select you based on their narcissistic relief. So, social media before 2009 was completely different. Most young people today, as those born after the year 2000, have no idea how social media was before 2009. It was completely different and more and much healthier. Now, Facebook becoming so dominant, overtaking the market, overtaking business. There were even governments with their websites using Facebook. The public should have considered what is going on here. And they tried to tell you that Facebook was launched by a few nerds, white nerds, who were just trying to build a social media platform. Listen, there are many social media platforms out there, many of them. I can still remember it was 2009 or 2008, and I tried to set up one myself, but I failed because I realized, man, you have to have a whole database that you need to maintain. I thought, let I can't do this. I really didn't have all that IT experience. But even I tried to do one, but it completely failed. But people were trying to build new social media platforms. It was a common thing that a lot of young people try to do. You could experiment with web browsers. You could use HTML, or you could use other codes. Also, young people were experimenting. And out of the blue, a few nerds come up with this blue social media, and blue is a color of enforcement. Blue is the pagan color of enforcement. Blue is the color they use to enforce something on you. He comes with a blue site, and this blue site that looks like a government site takes over. People didn't pay attention. Why? Because this man, Hunter Moore, came out dominating what's going on, and on Twitter he blew up. Now, before we go into this Hunter Moore thing, why aren't people talking about him anymore? If this man was such a big creep, violating so many people by letting all their embarrassing pictures being on his website, first thing you need to ask yourself, how come it took so long for the authorities to take action? How come it took so long for the authorities to realize, okay, this is going wrong? Secondly, this guy was obviously triggering conflict. Now, normally, if you have a triggering attitude, even in public, at some point the police will address you. And what he was doing, having a website with pictures from other people, maybe even some underage folks on it, even if there were not many internet laws back then in the world, it was still a forbidden thing. How come he could have done this criminal thing for so long, becoming popular? Because listen, this man had thousands of subscribers. He had thousands of followers. People were praising him. People were copying him. Now, and suddenly what happened? Anonymous. We don't know who runs Anonymous. It can be the Catholic Church. It can be the Jesuits. It can be anyone or the FBI. I don't know. Anonymous comes in trying to stop the man. And with it, Anonymous gains sympathy from the public. How come Anonymous came on him after he made so much money? Why did Anonymous stop him from the start when he was growing? Now, this man at the time got engaged. He had a girlfriend, was about to get engaged. And look at this, the woman he was with knew about the site, but she didn't think much of it. It's after she began to get threats herself that she suddenly left the man. And now she said she was sorry she didn't speak out when she could. Now she's getting sympathy from the public. Hold on. You mean to tell me all the time this man had this website and a lot of people complained, a lot of people were hurt, a lot of people's lives were being destroyed. You didn't think much of it only until the crap came to you? Oh, now that it comes to you, suddenly you are the victim. And he was a big mastermind manipulating you. Get out of here. You see, a lot of people are. If something is not bothering them, they'll make excuses for it. But when it bothers them, they are the holy martyr that's being killed. So let's now check one thing from his previous Instagram profile. Well, I said previous because he has been active on his profile for a while. Hold on. Let me go here. Oh, wait. I need to share my screen. I forgot. Let me share the screen over here. Okay. Let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen? All right. Now, when you look at this advertisement over here, because it's an advertisement, what do you notice? Well, you notice the pink down here that then become a little bit of purple over there. Pink is a color used for softness and femininity in the occult. You see it over here also. The green is a color that signifies witchcraft, paranormal manipulation. Black and white picture, that means duality, hints towards Freemasonry right over here. He has his hands in front of his face, like he's shocked. You have the pentagram right over there. There's a star symbol, and the star symbol refers to Apollo. You have the wings here with 6 feathers. You have 6 feathers over here. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and each the feathers are divided in two. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the second six. And of course, the star symbol is the third six. So there's a 6, 6, 6 code right over here. And it's written ignite. Ignite means you start something off. And he has tattoos. This appears to be a tattoo of a flower. So this whole image here is a pagan message. And don't tell me they just designed this way to get attention. No, they do such things on purpose. Now here's one individual. Here's one individual who said, "I can't believe people worship him back in the day. Absolutely no remorse for what he did, and it wouldn't have happened in this decade." Guys, you do realize he isn't active anymore, and this is a very old account. He couldn't. He wouldn't survive on social media now. As for recent weeks, he made a statement on his now closed Twitter saying he doesn't owe anyone any apologies. Parents must be so proud. What did women see in him? Nothing to look at, and certainly no personality. Those poor women. Wow. Okay, let's move on. The thing is, this woman is considered as the mind who kind of pushed to get this man taken down. Yeah, she wears red. You know what that color means for the paranormal. But what I want to point out here is that in the Netflix documentary, this man is portrayed like this big beast, and who's portrayed as hero? She is. So the Netflix documentary looks more like feminist propaganda. So one thing you need to understand about documentaries: anytime a documentary is made, there is something they want to accomplish in the public. Nobody makes a documentary just to share information. Let me repeat that. Nobody makes a documentary just to share information. Documentaries are made to shape people's perception and to change people's behavior. So there's always an agenda behind the documentary. So right now, I want us to read some of the old news articles about this guy. This one, the 3rd December 2012. It says the former owner of a revenge porn, quote unquote, website has been threatened by activist collective Anonymous. Is anyone up? Well, I'm not going to talk much about it, but this is the interesting part I found over here in the article. The thing is this is part of about suicide. Let me talk about it. It says Mr. Moore told technology blog Beta Beats Jessica Roy that the new website would introduce the mapping cells you can stalk people. But in a subsequent interview with Seller magazine, he took back the comment, stating that he made it while drunk. Okay. Okay. Regardless of his intentions, Anonymous published details about Mr. Moore's online, including the names of family members and his home address. Why include the family members? If you have an issue with the guy, you're still going to go after him. Why don't you go after the guy directly? No, you want to go because you realize, oh, this guy is kind of protected, so we're going to attack more people so we can get our agenda. That's what worldlings become when they get frustrated. Anything's on the table. The group posted a video about their actions to Vimeo. In it, they showed pictures of Amanda Todd, a girl who committed suicide of the topless photographs of her were circulated on the internet. Prior to her death, 15-year-old Miss Todd created a YouTube video describing how she was bullied. Mr. Moore, who has said his new site, has had thousands of submissions, has in the past said holds no guilt over whatever he does. But hold on a minute. Something's wrong here. Why does Anonymous refer to the case of 15-year-old Amanda Todd? And I remember this Amanda Todd girl who committed suicide. It was big news back in the day. I can still remember it. And when people talk about it on social media too. So, why mentioning her? Now let's continue. It's anonymous to me. I don't know those people. It's just a little picture on a screen. It told BBC in an interview in April. If you're just crying over some picture you sent to some boy you just met, no, I'm not taking it down. And no, I don't really care. Well, that shows no remorse over there. But okay, let me ask you a question. And this question will be tricky. If it was an Asian man having a website where such things happened, do you think it would have lost it for maybe a week? Let me know. I'm curious your answers. If it was an Asian man, let's say from China or Japan or Korea, who held a website that did things like this, do you think it would have lost for even a week being online? Let me know in live chat. Okay. If it was a Nigerian, if it was a Nigerian having such a website, do you think it would have lasted for a week? Let me know. Would a Nigerian survive with a website like that? Nope, he wouldn't. But look at this. It's a man of European ancestry that held the website, and most of his alleged victims are of European ancestry too. So this was a white on white crime going on. That is why they had so much compassion and patience with his men. Because I can guarantee you, if that mother would have found out that some Nigerian or Ghanaian criminal had a website in Nigeria and her daughter pictures were circulating on it, I know for sure CNN, BBC, all the main media networks will be all on it to find out who this man is, and the U.S. embassy would even put pressure on the Nigerian or Ghanaian government to get the man arrested immediately. But this was one of their own. And now you know what's really going on over here. Because here's how it goes. In white supremacy, you have to offer fake benefits for people to get along with the fairy tale. And one of the quote unquote psychological benefits, well, it's not really a benefit to begin with, but some of the psychic rewards that white supremacy gives to the public, especially the public of European ancestry, is that if you are of European ancestry, the laws do not apply to you, but just don't cause so much trouble. So white immunity from law was something granted to politicians and many businessmen in the colonial era. Now you can't apply this to a whole population because it wouldn't work in running the society. But you symbolically you tell the public if a crime is committed, we look at who commits the crime. If it's someone from European ancestry, we're going to look at their past, what they went through. We're going to try to find a way to solve the issue and all that. But if it's not someone from European ancestry, we go hard on them. And if they're from African ancestry, we are on them twice and thrice. We even throw the key away after we're done with him or with her. That's why, for example, if a mass shooting happens and it's Arab people doing it, they say, oh, they must be a Muslim terrorist. If a shooting happens somewhere in the hood, they say, oh, you guys are so just some criminal Negroes. But if some suburb boy from the rural South in America that does it, oh, he's a lone wolf. He was a bullied kid, or he was this or that. So white immunity from law does not mean that if you are a European individual or from European ancestry and you commit a crime that no police will arrest you. It simply means that the law has a different way of dealing with you. And this is what you see here with Hunter Moore. If they would have shut down Hunter Moore from the start, it would have given off the signal that being of European ancestry doesn't give you an advantage in life. And white supremacy relies on this psychic reward of people thinking if the closer I am to European, the more beneficial my life will be. So that's why when the perpetrators are of European ancestry, they tend to be more softer or more human when they're dealing with them. Not all of them, but those that become big, they tend to act that way. And when this man went to prison, he didn't go to prison for 5 years, 10 years, no, just 2.5 years. And he's a free man right now, and he could just go wherever he wants. I'm telling you, if he was a Hispanic guy from Mexico, he'll be in prison till this day. If he was from Zimbabwe, he would have been in prison for maybe 20 years or 25 years. But that's how they do it. They want his face to be out there so people will realize, you know what? If you're of European ancestry, well, you shouldn't misbehave, don't misbehave, but hey, even things go wrong, we got your back. That is the message they're telling you. That's what it comes down to. Now, I'm not going to give too many examples of white immunity from law. It's a colonial attitude that the Western world put in their colonies, and they still have this attitude when it comes to mainstream media and also how they run their societies. The big problem with this white immunity from law is that it harms their own European people. But white supremacy doesn't care about anyone, not even their so-called own people, so they just do it. There are many police officers in the United States who should have been arrested and prosecuted, but they're still around being a danger to the public. And often they even shoot unarmed white people too. But hey, white immunity from law, you need to keep the fairy tale alive by offering psychic benefits to the public. Well, this man should have been arrested from day one. Should have got a criminal record from day one. But hey, there were many people just like him. Think about it. This man, you can watch the Netflix documentary yourself when you want. But just look at how much praise this man got. And most of that praise came from European people or people from European ancestry who had the same dark mindset as he has. So this man revealed that amongst the European population, there are many who have the same reprobate tendencies as he did. So this man became like a leader. Some even called him a god, saying, I would do anything for this guy. I would even commit a murder for this guy. This guy was like a cult leader. If they would have been hard on this guy, they would have triggered all those followers of him and they would have gone crazy out there. That's why when the day went down on him, it's when he began to decrease in status. When his website was taken from him, he lost some status, and it's then that they came after him. Because if they would have come after him in 2011, you would have 100 uh, Hunter Moores popping up out of the blue. This man held a website and he allowed people to post I don't say pornography, but to put nudes and intimate sex pictures from others online with the personal details from other people. And when folks emailed him saying, please remove that picture, I didn't give consent for this, he wouldn't do it. Now, but understand this. The way the media even presents him, they don't present him as an actual criminal. They present him as a guy who was just accused. Now, let's go to another article. Here this was jailed in the United States. And it says here Hunter Moore, dubbed the revenge porn king, said he started the site after a girl broke his heart. But the 29-year-old soon found it was making him huge amounts of money. Whoa. So you mean to tell me this man came with this disturbing idea to have a website where you can just humiliate other people by putting naked pictures of them or sex images of them without them knowing it. And there were people willing to pay him for it. There were people willing to you advertise on his website. There were people willing to do business with him. Hunter Moore was not the actual problem over here. He was not. Hunter Moore revealed what was wrong with a lot of people. And that's why Hunter Moore was so cocky. That's why he would often say, I don't care, not my problem, not my responsibility. Why? Because he knew very well that there were many people out there who would want to do what he was doing, but he just didn't have the opportunity to. And it's the people who dreamed of doing what he was doing that were supporting him. He knew there were many secret supporters of him out there, like likely also people with government ties or business ties. Because remember, you don't make money from people who are poor, who are broke. It's people who have money that can spend money on you. So a lot of the people with money spend money on him. Not only drug dealers, pimps in strip clubs, all that, but I can tell you, there may have been lawyers, police officers, medical doctors, school teachers, pastors, social security workers, maybe even judges secretly. A lot of people with high salaries shared his misogynist tendencies towards females, and they were the ones supporting him. A homeless guy in the street cannot support him because homeless guy has nothing. Someone who can barely make ends meet cannot support him because they barely have money. It's people who were well off making money that were supporting him. So the real question shouldn't be how come this guy lost so long. The real question should be who did he and who were sponsoring him. It's his sponsors who made him possible. If he was not sponsored, he would have never made it that far. There was big money behind this man, and the people sending the big money behind him, they made him possible. So this man's destructive influence was the result of those resentful people using him as an outlet. So because he knew he had support, that's why he was so cocky. And here's another thing. Even when he went to trial and later was convicted, they didn't give him a high sentence. Let me tell you why. If this man would open his mouth and show the receipts of who were supporting him, it would cause more harm in the Western world. You would see the names of judges, police officers, of medical doctors, school teachers, pastors, maybe some husbands, even maybe, and there would also be women involved because women tend to want to, women who are resentful also tend to develop dark desires to humiliate other women. There were also women humiliating other women too. So you also will see that some of the feminists who were bitching about him were secretly the ones supporting him. If this man would have shown screenshots of all the supported messages and all the bank transfers, I'm telling you, it would cause a meltdown throughout the Western world. So this man became a political topic. No Western country, whether in Europe or North America, whether it was Australia, New Zealand, or Japan, South Korea, nobody in the Western world, no government wanted to have a public meltdown. So it was in all their interest so that this man would either be gone or that they would kind of make a deal with him so he would never reveal the secret. Because let me tell you, this man is not the only one who knows it. He had friends that supported him. He had allies that supported him, and those allies also know it. They put this guy in prison to appease the angry masses. But at the same time, they don't went hard on him, gave him a 10-year prison sentence, all of that, because they knew if they would have threatened him with such prison sentences, some of his obsessive fans would have exposed all the receipts. Think about it. This man had obsessive fans. Those obsessive fans got close to him, and some of them may have told him, listen, Hunter, if they want to go hard on you, don't worry. We got the receipts. We're going to spread all over the place. So this man had something on the Western world. He it, and that's why he used what he had on them to blackmail them, leave them alone. He went a bit too far in it, and they got him. But that's what I want you to realize here. So understand this. This man is accused of hacking people's phones and people's computers. But let me tell you, in the Netflix documentary, in which you have to actually show the results of the research, I'm not convinced that they have proven this guy hacked anyone. How are you going to prove someone hacked you? Well, to prove you've been hacked it's difficult to begin with. But think about it. Think about this man is just one human being. You mean to tell me he was hacking phones and computers of various women throughout the United States here and there, and he had no idea who those women were? Huh? Come on, that goes way too far. The man is not innocent, absolutely not. So I'm not standing up for him. I'm just saying that they're using him as a scapegoat so that people will forget other things were going on. Remember, 2010, WikiLeaks was active. WikiLeaks was revealing a lot of stuff. Also, the years after the scandal came out of this Hunter Moore, truth being told, the timing of this Hunter Moore, I keep saying Michael for some reason, my bad, for this Hunter Moore scandal, is that the timing is that it came right on time to shut the public up. I mean, a lot of the things that conspiracy theorists were saying in before 2010 were later proven to be true in the mid 2010s. That means around 2014, 2015. And a lot of those things are now accepted by the public. The fact that social media platforms use your data to make money off of you, it was a conspiracy theory in 2008. If you would have said it in 2008, people call you a conspiracy theorist. They would tell you, shut up and leave them alone. 2017, people just accepted it's the truth. And there was an exodus from Facebook when this came out. But people have been saying that for over a decade, but nobody believed them. Okay, but even in the early 2010s, in 2011, 2012, there were people discussing this. Why didn't it get any attention? Oh, because people were so busy hating on this man over here. Another question I have for you: how come this man is still alive? How come nobody took him out? Because listen, the argument he always used, and I don't agree with this argument, but the argument he always used when people try to make him feel guilty is saying, listen, I didn't tell you to take that picture and to share it with someone else. His argument was the moment you take a sensitive picture of yourself, you're the one that took it. Now, if you share it through an electronic tool, you put yourself at risk that someone else may see it. Because if you send a picture to someone else, you don't know where it's only that individual seeing it. The individual can also be sharing it, showing the screen with other people. You don't know. So his question was, why do you, if you didn't want this to come out, why did you make it? Now I'm not excusing that he allowed all this to happen on his website. Even though people request him to take them off, I'm not condoning nor approving nor excusing that. But he did have a point. If there's something about you, you wouldn't want people to find out why are you doing it. If you do it anyway, and you even use a communication tool that can be hacked or a communication tool that you cannot control in the long run, then you're putting yourself at risk. Do you understand where this is going? And let me tell you one thing about this man's sentence, why he also got such a low prison sentence. Let me tell you why. Let's say you go to a court of law, okay? Let's say now you have um, Danielle. I'm using an example now. Danielle is suing this Hunter Moore, saying, "Oh, my boyfriend had my nude pictures and he put this on his website, and I emailed Hunter Moore to take them off, but he didn't do it." Okay, let's say that you go to a courthouse. The lawyer of Hunter Moore is going to ask the jury, how did Daniel know for sure it was Hunter Moore behind the email address to read it? How can she know that? She can't prove it that it was. There's no proof for it. And in a courthouse, things need to be proven. Second thing the lawyer can say is that, hold on a minute. When the boyfriend put the pictures online without your consent, why didn't you go to the police and complain about the boyfriend violating you? Why is it that you went to Hunter Moore instead of addressing the men who actually did it? If you'd have gone to the police could put pressure on the website. And it's not a thing. It was your boyfriend. How come you were sexually involved with a man and you didn't realize something was off with the man? So you were involved with a man who was so emotionally unstable that the moment you want to break up with him or the moment you didn't give him what he wanted, whether it was sex or attention, whatever, he humiliates you to everyone else. I mean, come on. You must have known somewhere something was wrong with that man. So the moment you took that picture and sent it to him, no ignoring the red flags is on you when danger happens. Now, my client, Hunter Moore, should not have taken advantage of it to make money. That's his fault. That's what he has to be held accountable for. But you can't put all the blame on him. And then there were people who put their own pictures on the site. Nobody took the picture out of consent. There were people who just wanted to get attention and put their own nudes or their weird pictures over there. Oh, but suddenly all those people are victims. Oh, and look at this. When did people begin to complain about him? When they found out he was making money. Ah, so people loved the website because they could get a narcissistic high humiliating other people. But when they found out that Hunter Moore was using their narcissistic urges to make money off of them, those narcissists felt offended. And now they were became crybabies when they came out. Why? Because he was taking advantage of their own relief seeking. That's what he was doing. So you have a bigger narcissist taking advantage of a smaller narcissist. And now the small narcissists want to attack the bigger narcissist and pretend like they're the victims. Look, again, what he did was not smart. What he did was harmful, and I don't agree with it. However, you can't just put all the blame on him like he's the big demon. Okay, let's say he's a big demon. If he's a big demon in this thing, why did the public collaborate with it? Those are the questions Netflix does not answer. Look, if someone would send me a website saying, "Hey, Rashid, check this website, man. Oh, our teacher has a sex tape on it. Check it out." I would tell them, "For really, guys, you seriously have time to look at these things? S- Uh, sex tape of a teacher at school? Okay, we're teenage, but come on, man. And you guys want to share it? What if the police finds out? What if she finds out? What if others find out you were sharing this?" Look, I would tell them, okay, I can understand that you think, wow, she does a sex tape, whoa. But think about it, on the long term. If you see the sex tape, her having sex with whoever, and then you have to go to school and see her again, it will it will be quite uncomfortable. Do you want this? I know teenagers sometimes are a bit impulsive, but even impulsive teenagers eventually realize this is a bit uncomfortable. The fact there are people out there who just don't care how to affect other people shows you that they felt liberated by this man. That's why they kind of worship the man. Look, and the case of this man shows something else about worldly people. It shows something else about worldly people. Worldlings will praise you when you provide them narcissistic relief. Give them narcissistic relief in the form of narcissistic supply or in the form of people pleasing attention, or just give in to all the excuses and people will praise you. But the moment they find out that you're actually taking advantage of them, now they're the victim. Now they think they're taking advantage of you. In the case of this man, they thought, oh, this hunter's so stupid. He can be arrested anytime. Oh my God, this guy has his website on and people are taking advantage of him. So they kind of look down on him. But then suddenly they figured out that he was one who looked down on them. They're the ones, they were the clowns they were taking advantage of. Now suddenly all want to fight him. So then you have narcissists attacking him, calling him a narcissist, even though they were the narcissist that made him the big narcissist. Narcissists will always sponsor other narcissists. A narcissist will never, from the heart, support an actual believer. A narcissist will fake supporting a believer just to be left alone or just to score points with the community. But narcissists will always support other narcissists, even if they don't like the other narcissists. How narcissists are. Narcissists have this inherent loyalty to dysfunction, so they will support anyone who validates their own dysfunction. Someone that is smoking all day long is not going to think you're a great guy if you keep force them to face their smoking issue. But if you're someone who's smoking but still warn people it's bad, and you keep complaining those people are stupid or keep smoking, some smokers will even support you. Or if you're someone who's not into pornography, then you will not endorse someone who keeps spreading porn everywhere. The thing is, not I'm not saying everyone that smokes or watches porn is a narcissist, but narcissists tend to be involved in smoking, porn, all types of destructive addictions. So narcissists will always sponsor someone who validates their escapism and therefore enables their dysfunction. And you have sociopaths because this man is not just he went from being a narcissist to a sociopath. Now, we're narcissist, sociopath, psychopath, they're all reprobate according to the Bible, one term. But this narcissist, he graduated into sociopathy because now he used the narcissism of the crowd to get rich. It backfired on him, but hey, there were people getting rich with him. That's why they were supporting him so much. Oh, and one thing that's very weird about this website. If I'm wrong, because I don't have, because listen, I don't know every specific detail of this case. I don't. If I'm wrong about this, correct me. But he was not charged for child pornography. He wasn't. Why do you think that's strange? I mean, if you have a website where people post nudes and sex images from others to humiliate them, there are many teenagers out there who are underage who also take sex pictures of one another and they share it with one another. How come you didn't have an explosion of teen porn on his website? And maybe it happened because the website is defunct now. So there's no way I can actually look into it now. But the fact there was no child pornography charge on him shows you that this thing was not as the media wants you to think it was. This was something the adults were in on. So let me get it straight. There was no child pornography um, charge. Let me tell you, if he did get a child pornography charge and he went to prison, he would have been there for a lot of years, especially in the United States. And his fellow inmates would have likely killed him. He wouldn't even have been survived. He wouldn't even survive prison. Let me tell you, this man had people backing him up. Don't tell me there were no underage pictures. No, there were no underage girls nor boys on that website ever. I'm sure there were, but they were deleted by the moderators. There's no way this man ran his whole website all by himself. Impossible. The moderators removed those that would get him in trouble because if there were underage people over there, he would have been finished. So the moderators got his back. And here's the thing, why didn't they arrest any of the moderators? Why didn't they figure out, okay, listen, this website was quite active and big, impossible that you ran it all by yourself. Who are your moderators? Why aren't any of the moderators charged? Why only him? This reminds me of the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Ghislaine Maxwell was the confidant of Jeffrey Epstein. who was running this elite pedophile ring. Now, hold on, Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted in a court of law in the United States, but none of the clients who ordered underage women, or I would say underage girls, were ever arrested nor prosecuted in the case of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile ring. So I want you to think about all of that. Now, there was this woman that became famous on the site. She was called Bot Girl. And then you had his girlfriend. Back then, some sources say he was engaged, some deny it. Okay, let me see where I thought at a web page with a girlfriend on it, but okay, let me check. Um, no, I don't want to see her. Hold on. Okay, Bot Girl. Okay, a girl who they took a picture of her anus and all of that. Hold on. The anus refers to anal sex, refers to anal rituals. Hold on. That sounds like a ritual to me. Okay, listen, Saints. This whole case of this guy seems like a pagan, um, like it's like a pagan cult that went wrong. And some of the, not some, a lot of the cult members thought that they would win with him, sharing in the money, sharing the fame. But when they were left out, suddenly they regretted it. There more. Um, Here, I just show it like this. Okay, this Women's Health magazine. I don't really. Okay, let me go to Women's Health magazine. Not that I support. I actually am supportive of them, but okay, let's check. Okay, that's her. But um, one thing about her. Okay, let me get this out of the way. One thing about her is that she was not prosecuted, and she said, "Oh, I just didn't realize how bad it was. I wish I spoke out when it happened. I didn't think it could do any wrong." Okay. Now she's another. She has a new partner now, living in, as far as I could tell, New York. She's a career. So did she actually start the whole situation? She did not. So let me get it straight. You were close with the man. You knew what he was involved in. He was making money. The only time you decided something is wrong was people began to target you, threaten you. And now you're the victim. He was the guy. You need sympathy. No, there's a with it because you know why. The perpetrator was a European. The collaborator was European. Again, white immunity from law. You need to keep the fair tale alive. She gets off the hook. And now she can have another career and she won't even have to be a night awake being bothered by about the hurt happened to all those other women. So you want to talk about that? See where I'm going with this? What I want to point out here is that when you look at such cases, as I mentioned before, don't come in with your preconceived feelings. What you have to do is you need to look at the bigger picture, what's actually happening. Destiny Benedict is a cam model and sex worker who's interviewed in the new Netflix series The Most Hated Man on the Internet. The series tells the story of Hunter Moore, who created a revenge porn website called Is Anyone Up? The website was eventually purchased by an anti-bullying activist who rerouted it to a page against bullying. Moore was indicted on hacking crimes and sentenced to Miami, Florida. So the guy's just living his life again. Benedick's story of what happened when she met Moore has gotten a lot of attention, but be forewarned, it's very graphic. Okay? And today she creates adult content to share online. She's also on Twitter. She's now next to Destiny Brett. Oh, the Rainbow Club again. You can see that also. So let me get it straight. She was already, she was already in this dark world. That guy, but the guy took advantage. It said I was 19 years old. Can you wrap your head around that? Yes, you were above 18. You were not a minor. All right? So, what I'm pointing out to you here is that a lot of those victims that came forward, it's a bit questionable if they were truly victims or collaborators. Now, they were victims, absolutely. But one thing I want you to point out to you, this is how it goes in society. When you are there and people can perceive you as someone they can exploit, they love you. The moment they figure out that you were actually exploiting them while they thought they were exploiting you, now they turn on you. So do not ever think in the world that people truly love you for you. People love what they can get out of you. They love how they can trick you. They love in the benefits they have from you. But actually loving you just because of your sake is quite rare in the world. And in many cases it doesn't even exist. And let me get it straight. Many of those victims are still doing the same thing. Many of them have not turned to Christ. They haven't improved, but it still want to be called a victim. Okay, let me say it like this. If you've been victimized by the dark side, but you don't leave the dark side, you become a collaborator. I don't approve if the dark side victimized you. No, that was wrong. But if the dark side victimized you, why did you remain part of the dark side? Why do you want to remain part of what victimized you? Are you kidding me? I don't see any true repentance and true improvement coming from people who claim that this man was so horrible. Look, what the man did was wrong, period. But I'm not going to portray him as this inhuman monster that needs to be kicked around. No, I'm not. Because let me tell you one thing. If this man would have acted a bit smarter, because he went on live TV being so cocky, and that's how when people turned on him, because he was cocky in their face, it became too much for people. If this man would have remained behind the scenes, it would have gone along for years. That website may have still been online till this day. It would become like a porn. It would become like another version of Pornhub. It was the man's own cocky attitude that got him in trouble and got people to turn on him. But if he would have remained a little bit submissive, we won't even have this documentary to talk about right now. So understand that society is willing to tolerate you doing wrong as long as you're not cocky in people's face about the wrong you're doing. If you're doing wrong but you use excuses or you come with a sob story, people are more people will kind of tolerate it or put restrictions on you. So you asked me to discuss this matter, I did it. And it shows you something much darker about the Western world, namely that people have this deep desire to humiliate their fellow men. And this man was just a warlock who took advantage of it. Can something like this happen again? Not in an open way like this. Today, worse is happening. Today, you have the dark web where people are exposed on. You have far worse things happening today on the dark web, and people don't even talk about it. But I want to talk about this thing that included people that were not underage. So do not be dragged by preconceived feelings. Put preconceived feelings aside, look at the context, and examine what goes on. That's what you need to learn to do. Glory to God, you already got your answer by watching that video. Are there any more questions about this topic? Let me know in the live chat, please. Thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, I'm just putting this out there. I may be wrong, but it seems like this man knew what was going on and he took advantage of the politics of the time. I think this man he received so much support that they had no choice but to back him up. If you have a question about the last video, leave it as a comment on the last video so that I know what it's about. Let me tell you, there are far worse things going on that is anyone up. What was happening back then? Child trafficking, child prostitution, it happens. Why aren't we discussing those people? Nah, that goes way too deep. People don't want to hear it. And before I came online on this live stream, I was talking to a fellow believer from New York City. He's also watching this live stream right now. And he told me, Rashid, always when it comes to things like child trafficking, most people say, I don't know how this can happen. I don't know any child trafficker. I don't know how this could happen. Everyone tells you they don't know and they're shocked. But then you realize, well, don't mean Rashid. People have to go to work from 9 to 5. Most of the time of the day, you're on the office. Children and teenagers are at school between 8 till 3. So if most adults need to go to work to pay rent or to pay the mortgage, and the children and teenagers are at school too, how come their children being trafficked? That means that many of those businesses and companies and corporations are cover-ups for criminal enterprises. And if that's the case, a lot of people know what goes on. They just are faking it. So a lot of people prefer to talk about things like this man, Hunter Moore. But the actual evil that they as a public enable around them, they will never mention. That's how it goes. So don't be distracted by this documentary. Don't be distracted by uh, the Bill Cosby trials. that were proven to be hoaxes. Don't be misled by things like surviving R. Kelly. Don't be misled by any of those things. Whether true or not does not matter. Why does the media bring them out? Because the public wants to hide their own narcissism. That's it. All right. Well, I didn't get any questions from you further. Danielle, um, if possible, I'll call you on Telegram to have a short call. And to the rest of you, keep your eyes open, keep in agreement with Christ, and don't fall for such distraction. Also look at the bigger picture and be ahead of things spiritually. Be at peace. See you next time.